How do you communicate to people when you're stressed? And I want you to be specific. Listen carefully. Shh. I want you to write down all the ways you communicate, verbally and non-verbally. Write this in your notes. You cannot not communicate. How do we communicate not only with each other, but with anybody in the future if we have an upset? Because how many people are now clear that communication works really well until we get upset? How many would agree with that for the most part? Okay? That's when all of a sudden it gets distorted. So first of all, in your notes again, make a note. All upsets, anytime you're feeling upset of any sort, is the result of the meaning you associate to an expectation. In other words, all upsets are the result of meaning. You associate expectations that are not met to somebody else. Okay? So all upsets are the result of the meaning you associate to something. You're associating your expectations are not being met because of someone else. Okay? Because of someone else. So, for example, how many of you have ever had an expectation that didn't get met, but you got over it a lot quicker and you didn't really link it to anybody else? You're just like, well, I'm disappointed, it didn't work out. How many remember a time like that? But other times you've been upset and you stayed upset, and usually it's because you've anchored the upset as the reason you didn't get what you want is someone else. And when you think it's someone else, you tend to stay upset a little longer. Make sense? So we want to move beyond that. So to change your life, to change your communication, what you really got to do is change some of your belief systems about what can create upset in your life. You got to change some beliefs about communication itself. To change your life, change your communication by changing your belief system. So what I thought we might touch on are some core beliefs. Remember I said the other day, or this morning actually, the other day, it felt like the other day. I said this morning that how we interpret things, the meaning we come up with is based on what we focus on. But even what we focus on is usually based on some of our beliefs. And people that are successful are people who develop beliefs so that when the inevitable challenges happen, where people do things like, don't meet your expectations, which, is that going to happen again? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Is it going to happen more than once? Yes or no? Yes. It's part of life. So part of what you do is you begin to share your expectations in advance and see if people can meet them, if they agree, and if that works for them, instead of just expecting everybody to know what you expect. The other element, though, is if we can begin to adopt some belief systems that help us to interpret people's behaviors, then we'll have a lot less upset. So let me offer you 5 or 6 core beliefs that people who seem to have great relationships seem to have in common. Beliefs about human beings and how human beings behave and how they communicate. And those beliefs are the following. Number 1, write down, people are not their behaviors. People are not their behaviors. We're not just merely our behaviors. If people do something, if somebody does something, that is not who they are. It's what they're doing in this moment. Now, if you need evidence to really believe this, just look at your own life. How many of you have ever